Hello everyone, welcome to today's session, which is on calculated fields and quick table calculations, etc. So first of all, let us discuss about calculated fields. So here we go. What is a calculated field in the first place? Calculated field is also called as formula, which uses the built-in operators and functions. When I say operators, plus, minus, multiplication, division, all these are called as operators. All right, sorry, audio was reconnecting. And within these calculations, you have something called as ad hoc calculations. What do we mean by ad hoc calculations? You can actually make changes to a specific dimension or measure on the fly by just double clicking on that. Let me show you this to you all. Say I want to drag something called as quantity and say I want to drop it on the root shelf. If I want to edit this, all I'm going to do is just double click on this on the fly, right? And then here you can write your own formula. So I would say quantity multiplied by unit cost. That means if I'm purchasing 100 items, I'm multiplying 100 items with the cost of each item. That will give me the overall cost. Now, I will just click on enter. If you just click on enter, this particular change that you have done to the calculated field would take effect. Let me show you that. There we go. So here it is now, quantity multiplied by the unit cost. However, and you can add additional things also to this. I mean, you can extend this formula to have multiple things. Not just that, not just that. If you want to reuse this for the future purpose, all you need to do is drag this and drop it in your data pane under dimensions or measures, right? You can just drag and drop it. You can press control and click on enter. Do one thing. I mean, you'll not be having this option anyways because this data set is unique for discussing these kind of things. So if you press your control key on your keyboard and click on enter, it will create a new calculated field element. Okay, so if you press your control key and press on enter, or if you're using Mac version, you have to press the command key and then click on enter. When you do that, This will still be open. Okay, it will not close. Unlike if you do not press Control key on your Windows machine and enter, and if you simply click on enter, it would go away. And if you want to save this for the future purpose, all you have to do is drag and drop it. The moment you drag and drop, it's asking for a relevant name. So you can probably say overall cost. Yeah, in this way, you can save these kind of things for future purpose. All right. What are the various ways through which you can create your calculated field? No, I need to share with you all that data set, uh, Shika, unit cost. The data set that I have now, I'm going to share it with you all post the training. So here there are three ways, right? One is right click on the dimension or measure and choose create calculated field, or do a drop down on dimension or measure, or go to analysis and create calculated field. So how do we do that? Let me show you. If I were to right click on this and click on create calculated field, this is one way. Another is do a drop down, go to create calculated field, the second way. And the third way is go to analysis, create calculated field. Yeah, these are three ways of you creating a calculated field. All right. Now, there are interesting things which are going to come up. When it comes to your calculated field, you have multiple things within that. What are those? You'll have dimension, you'll have fields. What are those fields? What are those various fields that we have? Uh, okay, even before that, let me create another calculated field and then try to explain these things. Then probably it will make more sense. So I will go back to the Tableau. I'll create a new sheet. This time, mm, I'll connect to the samples so that probably you also can do it along with me. I have this order date. I'm going to drag this and drop it on column. Step 1. Step 2. I want sales. So I drag sales and drop it on rows. By default, Tableau will take a line chart, but you want to change it to a bar chart. Here, I want to put a condition. If it is, I want the color code for the first 6 months of each year. I want to say for the first half, this was a sales, for the second half, that was a sales. So for that, I need to divide specific year into two halves, first half and then second half. How do I do that? I'll go to analysis, create table calculation. Here we can just mention that 2 half years. Okay, because I'm just segregating, or you can give any meaningful name. I say if IIF, not IF. So there we go. Look at this statement. IIF test, comma, then, comma, else. So you're giving a test statement saying that, this is the example. If profit is greater than zero, then you have to come up with something called as profit. And if the profit is less than zero, that means your profit is getting into negative values. And if your profit is getting into negative values, you call it as loss, not profit. Okay. So if month within order date, you have year order date, right? Assume. So within month order date, if that value is going to be less than 7, less than 7 means what? 1 to 6 months. That is Jan, Feb, March, April, May, June. If you have any of those, say it is first half. If not, mention that it is second half. All right. Now tell me one thing. If I click on apply, will this new calculated field go and reside in dimensions or measures? What do you guys think? Why should it reside in dimension? Hmm, there we go. 2.5 years. Exactly. Since your order date is discrete. Yep, absolutely. You guys are right on that. Now, let me drag the 2.5 years and drop it on the color. There we go. So in all these cases, in the second half, sales were very good as opposed to the first half, right? In the first half, sales were less. In the second half, sales were very high. So probably in the first half, everyone was relaxed. In the second half, they want to meet their annual goals, and hence they were working faster, working better. Maybe. So the moment you have these kind of calculated fields, you can come up with these kind of charts, which will, you know, help you, slice and dice the data and then visualize the data. Okay. What are the various parts of a calculated field? You can have either fields. Fields includes dimensions, measures, parameters, sets, so on and so forth. Everything that you see on this side are called as fields. What are operators? The addition, subtraction. So within this, I have less than. This is an operator. What is a function? Month is a function. IAF is a function. So on and so forth. Yeah. Functions are inbuilt within Tableau, and operators are something that you use. Less than, equal to, plus, minus, all these are operators. If I have a numerical calculation, then how would it expand, right? And one more thing, if you have numerical calculations, right, the moment you create the calculated field, it will be placed in the measures automatically. That's one thing that you anyways are pretty aware of. I need not again see that. And when it comes to string operations, when I say string, right, I'm speaking about things such as customer name or dimensions basically. And these string manipulations will be placed in what? In your dimensions automatically. Your numerical calculations directly go and reside in your measures. So we have something called as BODMAS. This is the rule which is employed when a specific calculation is evaluated. For example, what if I write this? I want you all to help me evaluate on how this would get calculated. If I say total cost plus profit multiplied by quantity, how would this get evaluated, friends? Say total cost is $200 plus profit is $300 multiplied with 10. Yeah. What is the result of this? Mm, exactly. Now take you guys back to your school days. You have to follow this rule called as BODMAS, right? First things which are in brackets would get evaluated. Next order. What do you mean by order? Anyone? Don't say order in which you have to evaluate. Order is anyways BODMAS that we're following. What is order? Order is square root raised to the power 2, right? Cube root or raised to the power 4, 5, 6, whatever be it, right? Order. That's called as order. Anyways, next division, multiplication, addition, and subtraction. This is called as order of precedence. Order of precedence. Anything off. Okay, right. And next thing is concatenation. Concatenation is all about combining the different fields. Um, okay, anyways, I'll show you that using an example that makes sense maybe. And parsed means split the fields. You can either split the fields or concatenate. And here are these are called as string literals. Literals are nothing but values surrounded by those apostrophe. This. So what this function would do is it would take the first name, it would add a space and then the last name. Otherwise, when you concatenate, first name and last name would get mixed basically. Both of those would get combined. Hence, we need to use something called as string literals. Literals is these kind of spaces, or You might want to have first name plus last name plus maybe you want to have a dot, and then you might want to have middle name or surname. Okay, so in this way, middle, one second, middle name. All right. Combining the fields is concatenation, splitting the fields is parsed. Just remember that. Now, if we go back to Tableau, I'll create a new worksheet. I'll go to, yeah, sample superstore dataset only. How do I split the customer name? All I need to do is, okay, first of all, let us drag and drop the customer name here on the rows. If you look at the customer name, it has a first name space last name, right? It has the first name space last name. Now, if you want to split this, all you have to do is right click, transform, split. The moment you do that, there is a split which is created here. Split 1 and split 2. I believe split 1 has a first name. So I'm going to rename this to customer first name. Obviously, this will be the last name. Let me also drag and drop this. There we go. Sorry. So we have first name and we have last name. Assume that these are the only two fields that I have. I don't have this customer name wherein the details are combined. Then what do? I need to come up with a string manipulation calculated field. Go to analysis, create calculated field. We'll see customer name combine. And here you have to give those details that who, what is it that you want to combine. Say you want to combine customer name, first name, with the customer last name. This is all that you want to do as you. Let me apply. Click on OK. Let me drag this customer name. What's the problem here? I have the customer name. There are many customers with, same first name but different last name. But when we combine, there is no space. Exactly. So if you want to add the space, you edit. What is the space called as? What is the space going to be called as? What is the terminology that you give it? Terminology. Literals, string literals, literals, right? That is what you call the space as. Now let me apply. The moment I applied, there is space everywhere. Now this is how you can manipulate multiple things. Say a specific username is all in caps, or a specific username is all in small. That is, yeah, it's there. Okay. So this sign called plus, right, can be used for addition. It can also be used for concatenation. My question to you all is, what if I'm trying to add? Here I've added both string, that's fine. That's an easy thing for us. But what if you have both numbers and strings? And what if you want to add these two? No, what we have to do is we have to convert string to numbers either using float or integer. Absolutely, Vikram. No, Anushri. Okay, look at this. This is what we do. When we have numbers or when we have a string and when we want to convert that to numbers, we use float or integer. And when we have numbers and when we want to convert it to string, we use this function str before that field name. And then we are going to combine. We can. We can convert number to string and strings to a number. String to number is float or integer. Number to string is str. So within the functions, when you see int, str, you know, these are the few reasons why you would see that. Okay. If you want to convert everything to an uppercase, right? The name of people to uppercase, you use upper and you use the field name. For example, if I use custom, I simply apply. All the names are converted to what? Uppercase. Or if you use lower, everything would be converted to a lowercase. Okay, uppercase and lowercase. Now, question to you all. I will take it later on, Shika. I have a lot of things to cover. I will take this towards, and it's very simple str. That's it, right? But I will cover it towards the later. Now, what if we have a proper case? What do you mean by proper case? In the school days, people might have taught us that if I have a customer name, the first alphabet should be represented using capital letter, and rest of the alphabet should be small. For example, if it is the word called upper, U P P E R, the first letter should be in caps, rest of the letters should be in small. If you have lower, first letter should be in small, rest of the letters should be in, sorry, first letter should be in caps, rest of the letters should be in lower. What if you have a data set? in which you have these kind of things wherein the syntax is not followed. Then what do? We use this kind of a function. How would it help us? You all can try this out. Please try this and let me know what's happening. I'll give you a quick 2 minutes to do this. Are you all able to use this? Have you tried it or do you want some more time? But try it, otherwise it'll be difficult. Okay. Let me know once done. So was everyone successful in doing this? Shows error. Okay, shows error. Fine. Okay, let me do it for you. Customer last name. Okay, look at this data set. Oh, is it? Okay. So look at this data set. Here we have customer first name. One is in completely capital letters, another is in proper case, another is in lower case, so on and so forth. Yeah. And if you look into the last name of the customer, you have what? Again, same proper case, all lowercase, all uppercase, so on and so forth. And in order to fix that problem, all I'm going to do is go to analysis, create a calculated field, and let me write it as proper case, and let me paste everything here. This is what you were saying, right? So here, this is customer first name, comma one, also customer first name, comma length of the customer, one, two, here also one, two. Yep, there has to be one more thing. Now, friends, could you fix that? As Anushri has told, I think we need to have one more closing bracket here, just to close the entire thing. Now, when this is not there, it will say error, right? You can just click on that and it will say expected closing parenthesis or comma while parsing argument list for lower. So that means when it comes to this lower case, this function, something is missing here. They're saying parenthesis or comma. If I close this, issue got fixed. It's saying the calculation is valid. Did you all get this? So what are we trying to do here? What are we trying to do? Just understand. This customer first name, I'm starting from the left side to the right side, from the left to the right of the customer name. And only the first position is getting changed to uppercase. Rest of the things which are towards the right are getting converted to lowercase. Also look at what you're doing. You're calculating the entire length of that particular string called customer first name, and post which you're saying -1. What does this -1 mean? Let me show you. Let me first apply and click on OK. Where is the customer first name? Yeah. And mm, look at this. When it comes to this original first name, right? Do you see a space before for each and every name? Do you see a space there? Look at the name above and below and let me know whether it is space Bill or it is only Bill, or whether it is space Carol or only Carol. Can you all let me know? If it's difficult to understand, I'm putting arrow marks. Do you have a space and then the name? Do you have a space and then a name? Yes, there's a space followed by the name, right? Now, what does my proper case say? -1. What would this do? It will calculate the entire length and it is going to reduce that complete length by -1, meaning it will move the entire thing towards the left side. That is why now if I drag and drop the proper case, okay, once again, something's going wrong. Ideal, that's the use of this -1, but I think something is going wrong in that front. Even if I put this, let me see proper case. So hold on, friends. Let me get back to you on that. Let me get back to you on that. On this -1, I'll get back. All right. Ideally, this is how you need to convert names of the customers to a proper case. Okay. Except for this -1, rest of the things holds good. I'll let you know on what to do. Okay. And what if you have null values? For example, if you're trying to combine names using first name and middle name, say the surname for a few customers is not provided, and say I'm trying to combine first name and middle name using the plus sign. What do you think will be the end result? Say middle name is missing for a customer. In that scenario, what will be the end result? It will return null. It will return null. Even if you have first name, say you have the first name plus, say middle name is missing or you have null value, still the end result would be null. And when you use these functions such as is null or if null, this problem would be solved. And even if you have a null value, right? You're asking this particular function to do something else. For example, right, you can write these kind of functions. Let me show you. Maybe you can write a big lengthy function such as if maybe null of say customer middle initial, then if there is a null in the middle initial, then maybe you want to just combine customer first name and maybe you want to combine customer last name. Okay. Else, if it is not null, else means if it's not null, you might want to combine what? Customer first name plus customer last name plus you can have a customer middle initial and then you end the loop. Now, how can I improvise this further? How can I improvise this further? Any thoughts on what went wrong in this particular calculated field? Exactly. So probably I need to add a space also here and yes, yep, absolutely. Maybe a space here also and maybe a space here also, right? First name space last name space middle initial, or probably I can put a dot here. Yeah, if I can put a dot and then the initial. Should the initial always be in capital letter? Should the initial always be in capital letter? What do you think? So what should I use? What function should I use here? There we go. This is how you'd get it. Again, there are problems, right? Base in small, Carlos in caps. So you can further enhance or improvise your code to ensure that everything is in a neat structured format. Or if I go here and make the changes, I would instead of using directly customer first name, maybe already I have a proper case which is there. So I'll select the proper case. You have proper case here. This is not required. Then you have customer last name, proper case. Now it makes sense. First name, last name, dot. the middle. First name, last name dot the middle. Is this making sense? Perfect. Mm, I think the string manipulation I'll show you guys once. So I have the sample superstore. This quantity here is a numerical value since it's in measures. It's obviously numerical. And the shipment mode is a string. ABC is a string. Hash as a number. That's very clear. What if I want to multiply those two? Let me create a calculated field. Can we replace first name with last name? In what scenario you want to do that, Vikram? Let me know on what scenario. Uh, I don't think so. I mean, if there is a given scenario, maybe I'll be able to help you. But if there is no scenario and just if you're trying to experiment, then I really don't know. Maybe we can do, maybe we cannot do. Right? But if your question is that I've accidentally, written a formula wherein I have the first name, last name, then you'll obviously swap those rather than replacing. If you want only the last name, maybe you'll remove the first name from the formula. Uh, if it is swap, what do you do? Normally, you need to come to the calculated field and make the changes there, rectify it. In that scenario, you'll either go to the underlying data set and change it, or here itself in the formula, you would say that okay, first name means the last name means the first name, just the column name. And also, you can rename your dimensions. So, those kind of workarounds are there. Otherwise, umpty number of things, we can actually think about. But how to get around that? Do we have a default feature as such? I don't think so. Rather, I don't know whether that option is there or not. Okay. So if you're doing a string manipulation, or sorry, my bad. Where am I? Okay. When we try to uh, say multiply ship mode with quantity, this is a string, this is a number. Let us see what happens. Say I want to add or concatenate these two, right? I want to combine these two, assume. Beside the ship mode itself, I want to know how many quantities are shipped using a specific mode, right? What are those ship modes that we have? So I have first class, second class. Beside this itself, I want to have the quantity of products which were shipped using first class or same day or second class or standard class, assume. Now I want to create a calculated field which says ship mode. And I want to concatenate with quantity. Look at that. It's saying the calculation contains errors. Why do you think so? Or, Vikram? Exactly. Exactly. Either use a float or int here or use a string here so that you combine these two. Right. Clear, Shika? I think Shika had this
I
question.
have a question here.
Yeah.
So quantity, suppose it's giving the quantity is a So when you are saying string of quantity, like if the quantity is 20, for
Yeah, how is your
when you are saying some numbers are there, 20, 30, 40. When we are saying string, I mean, actually, what is it? What will the result be out when we say str of that quantity? Suppose the total, it's taking a total quantity of 500.
Huh.
What does the string mean?
So,
That's
okay, that's a good thing. Now, string normally means ABC or your alphabets, basically. Right? If you have the customer name, it's the name which is alphabetical. Um, you'll have alphabets within it. Segment also will have alphabets, right, within those segments. Order ID
yeah,
also has alphabets, but when you look into actually order ID, right, you'll have both numerical values and non-numerical values. There we go, right? Why do we call this as a string,
right.
right? Because if I want to combine numerical values with non-numerical values in this fashion, so now what did I do? Shipment mode. I told that we have first class. I just want, say, a dash in that way, and I want just the number, the count on how many quantities were delivered using this shipment mode. If that is my business logic, if that is the output that I want, then I need to convert
Hmm.
this quantity, which is purely numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so on and so forth. Those pure numbers, if I want to tag it to the already existing non numerical values, that is when I will use string and convert the numerical values to string. Otherwise, I will not be able to combine those. If I want to combine in this fashion, right? CA hyphen 2011. I'm assuming this that this is maybe Canada 2011 and maybe that order number. If I want to combine in this way, then these numbers, you're saying that these are numbers,
Hmm.
yes. Those have to be converted to string. Only then you can concatenate in this way. But directly we cannot correlate.
Oh, okay, so basically the number remains a number only when we
Yeah,
have to combine it the way we have STR.
exactly. If our objective is to combine some
Oh,
non-numerical
so,
values to numerical values, then we use this.
oh,
Yeah,
can you put that calculated field? I think it will be clearer then.
okay. There are a lot of additional things that we need to do here. Okay, let's try. Shipment mode plus if string doesn't work well, we need to use summation or some other thing here. Let's see what it's going to give. Got it?
What is this? One, two.
Those are quantities. Actually, what we should have ideally
Oh,
done is we should have summed up the quantities maybe. Let me try to manipulate that. So I don't have a live example with me, so I'm just trying to see what fits in well to clarify your doubt. Maybe this might help. Uh, hmm, cannot miss aggregate and non-aggregate arguments with this function. Okay. is also. Or I'll send you some live example, Ashika. That might make more sense. But the underlying logic you understood, right? If I want to combine a numerical value with a non-numerical value, it would throw an error. Hence, I need to convert the non-numerical value to numerical or vice versa. For example, I can even do this. Let me see the other way something materializes. Mm, I think in this scenario only string is going to work. Yeah, only string is going to work in this scenario. Okay, anyways, I'll give you a live example later on. I'll send you over email. I don't have a live, uh, example ready with me. But the underlying logic is if you have numerical values and non-numerical values, if you want to combine those two, you will get error. Hence, you need to convert either the non-numerical value, that is your string, to numerical value, or you need to convert your numerical value to a string. Only you can add or combine two strings, or you can combine two numerical values. That's it. That's the logic basically of a string. All right, let us move on now. In a few of the uh, what do you call it, data sets that you get, sometimes people might put the date in this format: YYYYMMDD. If I give the data in this format, and if I say, hey, sort it based on years, how would you sort it? If I give you the data in this format, you really cannot sort it. Right? Can you sort it? If I give 2011 01 21. If yes, how can you do it? Just think. Anyone? Hey guys, I mean, did you understand on what I'm asking you on? Did you get my question, friends? My question is simple. I have 2010 or 2011. I have month 04. I have date 23. And so on and so forth. I have the entire data series. Can I even sort it? Answer is you need not think so much. You cannot sort it. How can you sort it? Right? You can't sort it in the sequence. That would not happen. Okay. For example, if I have 2010 and say year 2004 and date is 21. I have 2000 and I have 05 and 20. Right. See, in this way I have data. Can you sort this in a sequence? Exactly, Ahmed, you are right. First, convert it into a date format. How do we convert it to a date format? Here is a function. You use something called as date parse, right? Use the function date parse, and within the double quotes, you'll give what format your original data set has the date in, and you say, hey, convert this into a string of date. This is when you will get the data in the right format, and then you'll be able to sort it in an order. All right, next, when do you use date truncate or date part? Do you know what? When you drag and drop your order date, when you drag and drop your order date to the shelf, right? By default, how would it be aggregated? Anyone? On how would it be aggregated? To what level? To the year level. But I don't want it to be aggregated to the year level, right? Instead, I want it to aggregate to a quarter level. Then what do I do? That is what is the use of date truncate or date part. Right? These are the two functions. But nevertheless, that aside, let us try to uh, how do I change the aggregate properties? One thing is when you drop your order date, ensure that you press your, I think just right click for Windows users, just right click and drag and drop your value. For Mac users, press your option key, drag and drop the field onto the columns. This would come up. This is Vikram. The problem with this is right. You'll have to always do it, right? Even the option that I've just shown you, you'll have to always do it. When I say you'll have to always do it, each time when you want, I think my throat is okay. Okay, each time if you want to do it, you want to, you know, select whether you want to have an order date at a quarterly level or at a monthly level or at a daily level, etc. This is your discrete data. This is your green color is your continuous data. If you're just wondering, or my bad, the one with the hash here, are you able to notice what is the color here? Yeah, I have to correct. Yeah, that's your discrete data, and the one which was below underneath was continuous data. So each time do I need to do this? It would be, a cumbersome process for me to do it each time. Hence, what I'm going to do now is Um, I'll go to, I'll do a drop down here. I'll say create. I will say custom date. Here the order date exact, right? I can change here so that from the next time when I use this, automatically quarter comes in. So let me select quarter and click on OK. Hmm. So I think it's did not get reflected. Mm, actually, you have two things, right? Date part and date value. Date part is your, this radio button is for your discrete data, and date value is for your continuous data. Okay, so ideally it should work. One second, let me try it once more. Ah, did it create another field? Yep, there you go. So it has created one more, sorry. However, that is your continuous. Why do you think it is continuous? And let me create the discrete also. All right. So you have order date months and order date quarters which got created. That's for your months and that's for your quarters basically. All right. Is this clear or do you have any doubts in this? I don't know. Already I think there is continuous, hence it's throwing an error. Vikram? Yes, Ahmed. Exactly. We are trying to put a specific level so that each time I drag it, I get to the quarters or months, whatever be the granularity that I've chosen. Okay. Do you guys remember the if else if function that we have written previously? No, Ahmed, I haven't used any custom function. It's built in, I believe, because when I've clicked on this custom date, custom date, I just need to give something. For quarters also, I think it should let me if I just say I want this time um, discrete. I think Vikram, to answer your question, I think it had the same name, though the data type was continuous and discrete. Hence, it wasn't taking maybe. Okay, so what's the time? How much time do you guys have? Because I have a lengthy list to be covered basically. How much time do you have? Based on that, I will, take another session also. No, to attend the session today. Vikram is being unrealistic, so can we have realistic answer? Half an hour. How about the other friends? Ahmed also has another 30 minutes. Okay, let us go ahead for. Okay, let us go ahead for or I'll go with the majority. Let us go ahead with another 30 minutes and or fine, we will go ahead in that case and discuss about a few things about mm, maybe your quick table calculation fields because a few things there are slightly trickier. And then we will come back once again to the calculated fields. We still have the calculated fields, a lot of things to be covered. And we have LOD also. Okay. Mm, let us go ahead and maybe it's time for us to discuss about logic constructs and all that. I'm going to explain, huh? Don't worry about that. Now here are the quick table calculations. You have all these quick table calculations. I believe when we have previously done a few calculations, we have looked into running total, difference, percentage difference, so on and so forth. But the key challenge or doubts would be on these four areas, right? Year to date total, year to date growth, year over year growth, and compound growth rate. So let us first discuss about YTD total. Maybe that might make more sense. I drag and drop the order date and sales. You know that by default you'll get a line chart. So I'll right click and say this is your sales over years. And now I'll do the same thing here also. But this time I'll do a drop down, go to quick table calculation and let me expand this to quarterly level. I'll go here and click on YTD total. Here also I'll change the granularity to quarter. I'll rename this and say YTD total. Oh, so I think I'll have to wait in that case. But let me redo. Okay, this is sales over years. Now I'm going to drill down the granularity to quarterly level. This is only sales. I'm not making any other change. Right now, if I go to sheet number 47, I will once again drill down the granularity to quarter level here also. And under sales, I'm going to go to quick table calculation and select YTD total, year to date total basically. I'll rename this to YTD total. Now let me create a dashboard. Now let us try to understand this. What is the sales here? 74,000, 448. What is the sales here? In the second quarter, 86,539. So I'll open the Excel sheet. 74,448. Okay, now let me write down the Q2 sales. 86,539. Third quarter sales is 143,633. You might laugh at me and say, hey, what are you trying to do, right? Why can't you just right click and say duplicate as cross tab and then copy this entire stuff, right? Why can't you just copy the cross tab and paste it here? Why are you wasting our time? I just wanted to show you on how you can manually do it and also how you can do it simply using your cross tab. All right. Now I'll go back to the dashboard. So we have written down the sales for quarter one, quarter two, quarter three, quarter four also we have for all the years anyways. Now if you look at this, it is 74,448. What is this? This is your YTD, right? This is your YTD. Look at this, 74,448. So your put it here. You have your year to date 74,448, and the next entry happens to be 160,987. Yeah, I think now you'll be able to see 160,987. I've done nothing. I've just put an annotation here. Since I'm swapping between the screens, maybe it's slowing down the speed. Year to date, year to date. Normally in sales and all, people would ask you, what is my YTD? Okay, look at this, 304,620. Is my screen visible or is it still stuck? Okay. I'm on this Excel sheet which says YTD, and I'm just putting that in bold. Now look at this. What is 160,987? This value YTD. It is nothing but summation of these two. If I do a simple summation of these two, I will get this value. What is this 305,620? This value. It is nothing but summation of all these three values. Yeah, it's quarter one plus quarter two plus quarter three in that way. Clear? What is YTD? Is that clear? It's the same. Honestly. Running total versus YTD, it's the same. It's the same thing. When you look into further granularity, that is when you would appreciate once again. If you have it for a monthly data, right? And if you sort this and go to running total, what has happened? It has added up 2011, then it is picking up from where it has left for the previous year, and then it is adding up to that, and then you get 2012, and then it's adding up there and taking it in this way, right? So entire thing is getting summed up in running total. Whereas when it comes to year to date, it will add it up till 2011, and then for 2012 it will separately do. The reason being, it is year to date. That way. Now let us look into another sheet. Let me once again drag the order date and drop it here on the column shelf. And let me put sales there. Let me drill it down to quarter level. If I do quick table calculation, there is something called as year over year growth and YTD growth. YTD is year to date growth. So we have YTD growth here, and sales over year. I'm going to bring it down, and I don't want any table calculation in this because I want to compare. Just if I drag and drop sales and order date, how would the graphs appear? And how would the graphs appear if I'm going to um, create YTD growth? Now, if you see, for the first year, you'll not have anything. The reason being, if I hover my mouse, this will be clear. Percentage difference in running sum of sales from the previous year of order date, right? So look at that, I repeat, or try to read that and try to at least make a little sense. Percentage difference. So the percentages difference is calculated in running sum of sales from previous year of order date. Now, if you look into the sales for Q1 and sales for Q1, right, for these 2 years, it has decreased from what? 74448 to 68852. If I want to know what is the percentage reduction, what do I do? Current value minus earlier value divided by, I think it's earlier value only. If I represent this in percentage terms, and if I say I want two decimal, I'm getting minus 7.52%. What are you getting here? What is the value? Is it matching? But, but, again, here you'll find this challenge, right? Now, what is the sales here? 86,539. What is the sales here? 89,124. It should obviously be a bigger percentage. I mean, it should not decrease. It should not be negative. But if you see here, what is the value? It is minus 1.87%. Why is that so? So if you all are still confused, my question is, in the second quarter, right, it was 86, 539 and 89, 124. Ideally, if you look into the growth here, it grew from this value to this value divided by this value. It is 2.99% growth. But why is it showing that it is minus 1.87? Anyone? It's showing here the growth is minus 1.87. Why is it showing minus 1.87? Anyone? So if you look at the Excel, you'll come to know about the answer anyways. Because this is for quarter one, this is for quarter two, and this is year till date, to date. You should not take only quarter two, you have to take year to date. So it'll be until today, right from the start date, what was my sales? Until today, right from the start, what was my sales? I get 157, 976. Here I get 160, 987. Getting me? And thereby I get minus 1.87%. Clear or any doubts, friends? Please get it clarified because compound growth rate would be a little complex once again. Clear to everyone? Yep. Any doubts, ask me if you have any doubts. Okay. Now, exactly. Exactly, Vikram. Now, question to you all. For Q3, how would it take? Why is it minus 5.38? So what it actually does is for Q3, let us write it down 143,633. I'm taking from here 130,260. Now if I do a summation of all these values, I get so much. If I do a summation of all these values, I get so much. Now if I look into divided by this, and if I represent this in the percentage format and try to reduce it, I get minus 5.38. Minus 5.38. Exactly, Vikram. So you all got it. Now I will not spend a lot of time on this. There are two more things, right? Let us quickly jump in and do that. So let me drag the order date, and where do we have null for the first one? Here, Shika? Because for 4 quarters you do not have data, right? You're looking into the difference in the year to year growth. So I do not have the previous year for this. We have nothing to compare, yes. So there is no previous year. So four things are nulls. Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4 for your year 2011. For 2012, why do you have? Because you're trying to compare 2012 and 11. What is the growth from 2011 to 2012? For 2013, why do you have? Because you're trying to compare the growth from 2012 to 13. But for 2011, there is no 2010 data. Hence, it's not able to compare, and hence you have four null values because there are four quarters: one, two, three, four. Clear?
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, let me stick with sales. Oh, okay. What did we previously? Okay, year over year growth. This value is 2.99, and here also we got 2.99. What does that mean? Year to growth. Now you guys have to tell me how to calculate. What will be the Q3 year to growth value? So when it comes to year to growth, right? Unlike your year to year growth, it is going to compare only for those quarters. What was happening in 2011 quarter 2 and what was happening in 2012 quarter 2? What was happening in 2011 quarter 3 and 2012 quarter 3? So if you look at this from this year to the previous year divided by this value, you will get what? Minus 9.31. So let us see whether we have minus 9.31. Yes, it is minus 9.31. All right. Here also we have four nulls because for the first four quarters, we do not have any data to compare. Is this also clear? Perfect. Now the final thing is compound growth. This is a little trick here. Even before I show you this compound growth, I have an article. I've already created here, I believe. No? Hmm. This is the formula, friends. Ending value by beginning value raised to the power 1 by number of years minus 1. This is the formula for your compound growth rate. Now, what does that mean? Let us try to understand using this small example. Say you have invested $10,000 in a portfolio and you have done it in Jan 2015. Of course, there will be inconsistent growth rate, right? In the stock market or your funds that you invest in the stock market. So, in the year after 1 year, exactly after 1 year, your portfolio value grew to 13,000. So, there's a $3,000 increase. And in 2007, it further increased after 1 year to 14,000. And finally, in the year 2008, it is 1950. This is a straightforward case wherein year on year you add some growth. So, in order to calculate the compound growth rate, you will take the final value and you'll take the initial value that you have invested, divide those two. And how many years difference do you have from 2005 to 2008? From 2005 to 6, it's 1 year. 6 to 7, it's 1 year. 7 to 8, it is another year. So in total, you have 3 years. That is the reason why you take the ending value by beginning value, divide it by raised to the power 1 by number of years minus 1. So since you have 3 years here, it's 1 by 3.33, right? So it's initial value, sorry, end value my initial value raised to the power 1 by 3 minus 1, and then you'll get 24.93. Look at this scenario. Initially, I've invested 5,000. In the year 2011, it increased to 5,114. In the year 2012, it decreased to 5,098. And in the year 2013, it again increased to 5,437. So it increased, decreased, and then increased. You have very inconsistent rate at which your portfolio has grown. In this scenario also, formula remains the same. And the formula is end value divided by beginning value. I think it makes sense for me to take a screenshot of this. Just give me a moment. Okay, look at this. So in this case study, what is the end value? End value is 5,437. What is the start value that you have invested? $5,000. And how many years? Is it from 2010 to 2013? 3 years. 2010 to 11 is 1 year. 11 to 12 is another year. And 12 to 13 is the third year. So you have 3 years. So you would raise this number to the power 1 by 3 and subtract it from 1. This is financial calculation basically, right? In your financial analytics, this is how your compound growth rate is calculated. If you're investing in the stock market, etc., and after 10 years you want to find out on what was the growth of your portfolio or a specific mutual fund, this is the pattern which is applied. This concept is used in a lot of financial analytics models, wherein the models are going to predict your sales, etc., or your portfolio growth rate, etc., predicting on what will be the growth of a specific stock market, so on and so forth. Okay. Is that formula clear to everyone? Please confirm. Okay. Now let us go to Tableau and try to solve it. I'm going to drag and drop the order date, and let me drag sales. If I want the compound growth rate, create a dashboard, drag the sales over years, and the compound growth rate. Now we can calculate properly. So the sales for every year in 2011. Okay, let me go here. All you need to do is, if you want to copy that and paste it in your Excel sheet, I need to do a cross tab. There we go. Okay. Now from this year to this year, what was the compound growth? Minus 2.83. How did we get minus 2.83 is one thing that we need to calculate, right? So it is from end value minus initial value. Oh, sorry. End value divided by initial value, whole raised to the power how many years? 1 by number of years. 1 by 1 is 1. Why is it not calculating? Come on. Okay. Huh? Ah, I think it's taking the dollar value into consideration. 247 and 470 533 608 474 733 947. So how do you calculate it? Uh, End value divided by initial value, okay, raised to the power 1 divided by number of years. Here you have only 1 year. 2011 to 12 is 1 year. So I divided by 1, raised to the power 1, and this value has to be subtracted by 1. Okay, so this value minus 1 would give me percentage minus 2.83. And even if you look into your Tableau, it is minus 2.83. Now let us look into another year. It is what? 12.10. So how do you calculate? Initial value divided by, sorry, final value divided by the initial value, and you raise it to the power of 1 by exactly 1 by 2, because we have 2 years now, 2011 to 12, 12 to 13. And should I subtract the end result from 1? Yes, absolutely, you have to do it. It is approximately 12.09% or 12.10%. Clear, friends? And finally, in that way, if you calculate, you will get to know even for this, which is what, 14.87. Let me also do that and we will close the session. This is equal to final value divided by initial value. You're going to, okay, raise it to the power 1 divided by how much? 3. And subtract it from 1. It is 14.87. For that, you need to invest, Vikram, in stock market or any of your mutual funds. Or if you invest in a property, if you purchase a land, etc., right? Sometimes when you have boom, the price of your flat or plot might increase. When there is recession, the price of your flat or house might decrease. Right? There'll be such fluctuations. After considering all those fluctuations, what is the growth that I have got? That is your compound growth. Basically, it's a financial terminology. Normally, it is used to, you know, check how much growth you have received after you invest some amount in your on property or funds or anything. If you invest some amount and purchase a car, for example, okay, Ahmed says, how did you determine 1 by 2? If it's for 2013 year, right, Ahmed, I would use 1 by 2. Why is that so? Because from 2011 to 12, I have 1 year. From 2012 to 2013, I have 1 year. So I have 2 years. If I were to calculate the same thing for 2014, then from 2011 to 12, I have 1 year. From 2012 to 13, I have another year, so 2 years total. And 2013 to 14, I have another year, so 3 years in total. That is how we determine whether it is 1 by 3 or etc. Yeah, exactly. Even if the values are fluctuating, still you have to use final value initial. Obviously, values will fluctuate, right? If you purchase a car for say $1 million, obviously over a period of 3 years, 4 years, it's going to depreciate or increase if it's a one of those very old cars, etc. So it depends. All right, friends. If you have any doubts, please ask me now. Yep, I know for a fact that there are a few more calculated fields that I have to explain and LOD. I will let you know on when I can take the session because I'll be traveling the first half of next week. I'll let you know when I can take that session. Apart from that, are the other things clear? Whatever we have discussed today. Yeah, today night you have a session. Please attend if time permits. Forecasting, that would be extremely relevant even from the Tableau perspective, right? Because here, whenever you have year to date, etc., in the analytics pane, forecast value will get highlighted. So forecasting is important. So just try to attend the session. Anyways, it will be driven not on Tableau but on R, but the basics also would be explained to you all once again. And R code line by line it is executed. So please attend that. Don't miss it out. I would not be the trainer. Another person who has good experience in forecasting would be the trainer. All right, friends. Thank you so much. Yeah, I'll let you know, Vikram. Tableau batch is done. So morning Tableau batch is closed once for all. We need to get into data analytics. I'll inform you, Vikram, on that. All right, friends. Thank you so much. Bye for now.